Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview Sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today I've got the good fortune to be interviewing Greg Connolly, CEO of Trifecta, who has scaled Trifecta from non-existent to the #1 organic meal delivery company in America, now with a 9-figure run rate. Trifecta has helped over 200,000 people cure their diabetes, chronic diseases, and get in the best shape of their lives, along with partnerships with organizations like the UFC, PGA TOUR, Team USA Weightlifting, the CrossFit Games, Mr. Olympia, and many, many more. Greg, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Seth. Appreciate the intro.
All right. So full disclosure, we are a huge fan of your product and consume it every single day. So I'd like to get that out of the way in the interest of full transparency. You've done, before this, 5 startups, almost 20 years of experience, 2 successful acquisitions. Why did you decide to start Trifecta? Why did you get involved with Trifecta?
Trifecta was definitely a change in overall kind of business goal direction for me, where after having some success, and you said 2 out of 5, meaning the other 2 were failures. Absolutely. Having some failure as well. Trifecta was very much so my passion business. I was inspired by entrepreneurs like Elon Musk that went out and looked for a major problem, like making us a 2-planet species or electric cars or whatever it is, and wanted to tackle that particular problem. So for me, looking around in the market at what are some of the biggest problems we're facing as humankind, one of the largest right now happens to be the chronic disease crisis, the obesity epidemic. There's a lot of different names for it. It's now the #1 killer in 198 countries. So, especially with us coming out of the pandemic right now, it's been, the media calls it a comorbidity, but it's been one of the big causes that we've had over 500,000 deaths through COVID-19. So wanted to tackle a big problem, and I'm a big believer in direct action with entrepreneurship. I feel like that's the cool thing about entrepreneurship is you can say, instead of talking about a problem, you can just go out and directly try and solve it. And that's what really inspired us to launch Trifecta. We said, how can we make healthy eating cool, sexy, more convenient, and less expensive than anything else on the market when it comes to food? And, since you've experienced it yourself, that's really the goal of the business and why we launched the company in the first place.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. So how did you grow from a startup to the #1 organic meal delivery in America?
It was a lot of work. We largely have done it through a pretty sophisticated inbound digital marketing. So most of your audience is probably entrepreneurs and people looking for ways to scale a business from, in our case, non-existence to north of 100 million in revenue in less than 5 years. And the way we did it was, through a combination of, SEO, influencer marketing. Some of the partnerships you've mentioned have been very significant for us, and really having a fully fleshed out inbound marketing funnel. So that means getting a lot of visibility on the brand very quickly. And then when people come to the website, giving them a lot of value. So, they'll give us their email because they want to learn more. And then from there, we've got hundreds and hundreds of email automations, educating them on nutrition, the brand, all of the different stuff we're doing. That ultimately convinces them that, Trifecta is the best option available on the market, and, they subsequently try it out. That's really been the huge key to our success. I always point people to amazing platforms like, digitalmarketer.com, other platforms along those lines. And I work with a lot of other CEOs, and I give a lot of kind of speeches to entrepreneurs, and I tell them, if you're not selling on the internet, you are not even in the game anymore. It's 2021. It's the days of dialing for dollars that we all remember from 20 years ago are dead. Marketing is the new sales. And, that's been a huge focus of the company and the brand, is to have, we have to have an amazing product that works for customers. Obviously, that's a ticket to the game, but being able to get the word out about it incredibly rapidly through social media and in the internet has been the key to our success.
How do you build a team and grow a team that goes from 0 to 100 million in such a short period of time? How do you handle that growth?
I mean, we've had in-house recruiters from almost the get-go. So I'm a big believer in bringing talent management, recruiting, HR, et cetera, in-house as quickly as possible. Because to quote Richard Branson, a company is just a group of people working on a project together. And, that's been a big focus of ours, is to get the right people on the bus as quickly as possible. And sometimes in big months like January, that means we're hiring, 50, 60 people in a month at our kitchen. So it's a lot of people. But at the same time, as the organization grows, it becomes manageable, and you're able to invest a lot in your team. So it's a huge focus of ours as a company, and something I think we've had a lot of success with. You start small, but then as you scale, you're bringing HR, talent management, et cetera, in-house.
Absolutely. So then, in that, managing that growth, that exponential growth in a short period of time, what were some of your biggest challenges, and what did you learn from them?
Biggest challenges have generally been around operations. As you can imagine, making 10,000 meals is very different than making 10 million meals. So, sourcing commodity suppliers, finding high quality ingredients on time. Through things like the pandemic, we've had a lot of supply chain issues where even FedEx and UPS are like, we're at capacity, type thing at certain facilities. So really making sure we're 6 months to a year ahead of where the business growth is actually at. The bigger you get, the further ahead you have to be thinking. It's the best analogy I've gotten is it's like, you start out jogging on a racetrack, but eventually the business is growing so fast, you're like a race car. You're going 200 miles an hour, and you need to be able to see way far ahead down the road to be able to avoid obstacles. And if you read books like, Bezos's most recent book, Invent and Wander, that Walter Isaacson did on him, he's trying to live 3 years in the future for Amazon. So for us, we're usually about 6 months to a year in the future, but that's really how we've planned to be able to scale and tried to handle a lot of the major hurdles like logistics. Nobody's delivered fresh food to, hundreds of thousands, and, now with the supply chain, millions of people in this fashion in the past, in the direct to consumer model.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible that we can order, get it days later, pop it in the oven, heat it up, follow directions, and it's delicious, and it tastes exactly like we just prepared it ourselves from scratch. How have you talked about the supply chain, how have you managed that process? Because you've gone from startup to a huge organization delivering hundreds of thousands of products every single week. How do you handle that?
Really hiring the right people. So, the right ops people. I was lucky that a previous company of mine was a logistics software company. So I knew a fair bit about logistics, transportation management, even things like fulfillment, pick, pack, ship processes, et cetera, in advance. So a lot of learning and studying, but at the same time, really bringing the right people into the organization. It's the classic cliche, surround yourself by people that are smarter than you. You definitely have to do that when it comes to logistics. I'm a relatively young guy, in my mid 30s, and I want guys on, and girls on the team that have been on the warehouse floor for 30 years, that know all the pitfalls we're going to experience as we scale the organization up. And we go out and poach those people from best of breed companies throughout the country.
You've created partnerships with places like Team USA Weightlifting, the PGA Tour, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. How did you get yourself in the door at companies like that?
For us, it was really about the value add we could bring to the organizations. They wanted the product. So, I'll use the UFC, for example. We've got a lot of videos on YouTube of us running their entire nutrition program for them behind the scenes. And that's really been because they had a problem that nobody was managing weight cuts at scale for them. And now they had 580, 600 active fighters in the UFC at any one time. That's a large logistics hurdle for any organization to manage. And so, Dana, Forrest Griffin, people on the team came to us and said, hey, we have this problem where people are doing what they call unhealthy weight descents, AKA they're showing up a week before the fight, 30 pounds overweight, and they have to lose the 30 pounds in a week. The only way you're going to do that is through losing water weight. So with Trifecta, we actually ship the food out to fighters during fight camp, which is 12 weeks before the fight, so that when they show up for fight week, they're within 5 or 6 pounds of actually making weight. And then we'd have executive chefs there on site, whether it's on Fight Island in Dubai or it's in Las Vegas, anywhere in the world, we'd have executive chefs on the ground cooking for them specifically in that last week. So a lot of, tenacity to get in the door, talking to this person, that person. For me, I went on a radio show that had Uriah Faber on it just so I could meet him, met Uriah Faber, then got him involved in the business. He ended up investing, and then asked him to fly me out to Vegas and intro me to Dana White, which he did when he was receiving his UFC Hall of Fame. So in terms of tactical steps, that's how I got an intro to Dana White. Was I found a celebrity UFC fighter in my area, brought him under the tent with the business, and then, went up the chain to the big man, Dana.
That's an awesome strategy. Now, I love your BHAG in terms of changing the health crisis worldwide, the chronic obesity epidemic, and all of the behavioral diseases that come with that. Tell our folks watching and listening, how are you doing that? How have you helped 200,000 plus people cure their diabetes and chronic illnesses and stuff like that?
Through direct action. I think the government takes the strategy of education. I mean, we've all seen the food pyramid and My Plate and all of that type of stuff. The reality is that the solution is a market solution. It's us providing a solution that can outcompete McDonald's and Coca-Cola in the marketplace. It has to taste incredibly good. It can't be frozen. The ones I grew up on 20 years ago were, companies like Nutrisystem, where they're shipping you frozen food, which, was great for its day, but now Americans want fresh, vacuum sealed, great taste. They want variety, all the different stuff that we tie into the product. So tackling a BHAG like this, I mean, bigger goals for me are motivating. You only live once. Like, as cliche as it is to say that, like, I don't want to talk about stuff. I want to get into the game and solve a major problem in my lifetime. And I think that's going to be through direct action. So yes, education is a big piece of it. We do have thousands of articles on our website. We've got on-staff RDs and MDs. We've got all these celebrities and celebrity athletes talking about the brand and promoting evidence-based nutrition. But at the same time, we're like the easy button on the internet. You are probably a very busy man, Seth. You want to solve a problem, you want to go onto the internet and click a button and just have the food show up fully cooked direct to your door. It's more convenient than DoorDash or anything else. It's already there for you, fully cooked in your fridge, whether you're in the office or at your house. So it's got to be a better market solution, in my opinion, if you're really going to solve a BHAG. Going back to Tesla, like my wife and I both drive Model S's. We love them. We got solar panels on our house, the whole 9 yards. And I could afford any type of car, but Tesla's the best. And, that's really the strategy we've had. People are already buying food. They have to, or they're going to die. So we might as well create a food solution that's better than any other food solution out there. And that's the strategy we've taken to be able to tackle a problem. So yeah, it started in the thousands, then tens of thousands, now hundreds of thousands. In the next couple of years, we'll be feeding millions of people, and then tens of millions. We'll probably go public in the next 18 to 24 months. And at that point, a huge infusion of capital like that, we're going to be able to make a dent in the universe by actually solving a big part of this problem. And the other thing I'll say, because I think this is important for BHAGs, Tesla isn't winning because everybody's going to buy a Tesla. Tesla's winning because they made electric cars the future of cars. And now GM, Ford, Mercedes, Toyota, everybody else is building nothing but electric cars because they know if they don't, Tesla's going to win in the market. That's the beauty of capitalism and entrepreneurship. They've forced the entire effing market to transition. And that's what we're trying to do with Trifecta. We don't think we're going to feed everybody in the world, but we think we're going to make healthy food that still tastes great and feels like you're eating a cheat meal, what is actually popular in the market. And once we've done that, McDonald's will get on board. Everybody else will. They'll have to, because that's the market trend.
That is absolutely incredible. I love the mission and the vision. For our viewers and our listeners who want to learn more and perhaps take a taste test and be part of the converted, where is the best place for us to send them?
You can just Google the word Trifecta. The website itself is trifectanutrition.com. We're all over, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. So lots of different ways to find us, but we just tell people Google Trifecta, come to the website, learn about what we do. And it's definitely an option, I think, for most Americans out there. We've got incredibly affordable, options like a la carte now that are $5 to $8 a meal. I mean, it's already McDonald's prices, and you don't even have to go through the drive-through.
Absolutely fantastic. You mentioned the Isaacson book about Jeff Bezos. I know you're a voracious consumer of content and you're always learning. What are two of your other favorite books?
I mean, when it comes to like books that I think will be most influential for people, Mindset by Carol Dweck. She's a Stanford professor, and one of the most popular articles I ever wrote for Entrepreneur magazine was on having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So I think winning as an entrepreneur today is all about he or she who can learn the fastest. It's not who has the biggest leg up or started with the most resources. It's about learning as quickly as possible in the digital landscape. The other one I would recommend, especially if you're managing people, is Radical Candor. That's a biggie that we recommend. It's a woman who was a senior manager at Google working under Sheryl Sandberg before she went on and became a CEO herself. And it talks about, radically caring about your employees, but at the same time being incredibly candid with them. It's oftentimes very hard for managers to give candid feedback to their employees, but that's how you show them you truly care about them. Tell them how they can improve directly so that they can advance in their career. But at the same time, do it in a tactful way because you actually care about your people. They're not just ones and zeros on your balance sheet. So those two books I think are major winners for people that if you haven't read them, game changers when it comes to improving your entrepreneurial journey.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been Seth Greene for Sharkpreneur with Greg Connolly from Trifecta. Greg, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Seth.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time. Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.